everyone, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Jay, and this is our journey to early retirement. On this channel, we're sharing our journey as we get ready to retire in about 6 years. If you want to know more about us or you want to hear an overview of our plan, you can check out our introduction video.
Today we're talking about geographic arbitrage. This is a very important strategy in our early retirement plan. The concept may seem complex, but it is what will help us make our money last longer once we are retired. And it will allow us to do what we love the most, travel all over the world. Sounds too good to be true? Let's take a look. We are here to break it down for you.
Let's start with what is geographic arbitrage. Well, it basically means we're going to take our money in US dollars and spend them where the dollar is very strong against local currency. For example, let's say that a can of Red Bull like this one is $3 in Houston, and in Rio de Janeiro that same can costs 3 Brazilian reais. Well, as it stands, 3 reais is only 50 US cents. I could literally buy 6 Red Bulls in Rio for the same price as one in Houston. If we choose to live in a place like this during retirement, it will help make our money go a very long way. There's so many places to choose from. There's a lot of countries where the US dollar is strong against the local currency. How do you decide where to retire?
Our ultimate retirement goal is to see the whole world, so we are not going to retire to just one place. Our plan is to spend a few years in each part of the world: Southeast Asia, South America, Europe, and so on. The idea is to find a city in each of these regions and make it our home base while we explore the area for a few years. Then, move on to the next part of the world. Choose a new city to be our home base, spend a few years exploring around, and off we go again. But how do we decide which city will be our home base in each part of the world? It all depends on what's important to you.
Yeah, cost is important when you're being conscious of your spending, but it's not the only deciding factor. We came up with a few wants and needs and created a scale for each. So, travel cost and travel access. As we said, we love to travel, so having good regional travel is very important to us. For travel costs, we have inexpensive, affordable, and expensive. For travel access, it can be high, medium, and low. Safety. We know there's no place that is perfectly safe, but our scale is safe, avoid some areas, and moderate. Volatility of the government. Is there a lot of civil unrest in the region? The scale we have here is stable, mostly stable, and average. Quality of healthcare. We want to make sure we have access to good healthcare. This scale is excellent, above average, and average. Overall quality of life. This one's a slightly more nebulous score as it's very subjective. The scale we labeled high, medium, and medium-low. Air quality. This scale is safe, mostly safe, moderate, and poor. It has a 4-point scale because of how much air pollution exists in growing economies. We couldn't pretend that it's not a problem.
There are other things you might want to consider, things that are harder to scale. Can we live there for multiple years without too much difficulty? Do they have too high of an income requirement for residents? What's their attitude towards foreigners? Is it easy to move money? How complicated is it to work with local government agencies, get a driver's license, or any paperwork?
So some of this data comes from our own personal experiences, but we use several internet resources to help with our research. Sites such as theearthawaits.com and the CIA Factbook were very beneficial to us. We do our best to rely on facts more than opinion pieces when trying to objectively rank these locations, but as always, there's going to be some amount of subjectivity in each rating. So without further ado, let's get to rating some of the cities we're looking at.
We live in Houston, Texas. Houston is relatively inexpensive compared to many other cities in the United States. According to the Earth Awaits, the monthly cost of living is about $6,000 for what they call an ample lifestyle, living in a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center, going out to eat, other entertainment, not roughing it at all. That number would be much higher for a city like New York or Miami.
Houston also scores high in many of our other factors. It's true that the cost of travel is not cheap, but it is a travel hub with daily flights to all over the world. It's pretty safe, although there are some places you want to stay away from. The government is pretty stable. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes. It is one of the best medical centers in the world, and the quality of life here is really pretty great, even if the air quality isn't always 100% safe. We really love Houston. It has great restaurants, which is really important to us. It's also a very diverse city. You get to have friends from all over the world, and that sort of richness is priceless. But our plan is to travel the world. And like we said before, we want to find a city in each part of the world and make it our home base for a few years while we travel the region.
Let's look at South America. We have chosen 3 cities we think would be great to live in: Lima, Peru, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Medellin, Colombia. Let's compare them side by side using our factors and scales. We are also keeping Houston there on purpose, just for reference. After all, that is the ultimate comparison. In Lima, the cost of living for that ample lifestyle is $2,239 a month, less than half of what it is in Houston. Travel to the rest of South America from there is pretty accessible, but not the cheapest, affordable. It is also relatively safe as long as you avoid certain areas and use common sense. The government is stable, with a corruption problem, but stable. It has an okay healthcare system and overall quality of life. Unfortunately, there's definitely pollution.
If we look at Buenos Aires, it would cost us a monthly $1,355, again for an ample lifestyle. Travel is also affordable and easy. It's not as safe as Lima, and the government is also less stable, but the healthcare, quality of life, and air are better. Medellin's monthly cost of living for that ample lifestyle is $1,267. Travel is also affordable, but not as easy. Despite its history and reputation, though, safety is good, but some areas need to be avoided, and the government's actually pretty stable. Healthcare and overall quality of life are pretty good, and there's some pollution, but not as much as Lima.
So at a glance, Lima is definitely not the best option here. As much as I love my family, it is the priciest of the three options, and the pollution is a deal breaker for me. Medellin is the clear winner for home base here. Travel might not be as easy because we'll need to go to Bogota first in order to travel internationally, and yes, it might have a bit of pollution, but everything else is good and the monthly cost of living is the cheapest of the three. Just look at how it compares with Houston. That will really make our savings go a long way.
But we wouldn't spend all of our time in Medellin. The idea is just to use it as a home base for a few years while we explore all of South America, and then off to another part of the world. Let's look at 3 cities in Europe using our same factors. Wow, they all score very high, and they're all cheaper than Houston. At a glance, we can disqualify Amsterdam just on the cost of living.
And the winters.
It appears there's definitely a tie between Porto and Valencia. We love them both as options. And that's when other more personal factors can come into play. Cuisine, climate,
Quality of the beaches.
city life. For example, Valencia has more than 10 times the population of Porto. Life is definitely different. But whatever's important to you should be a factor. Just do your research.
Let's do one more.
Yeah, let's look at Southeast Asia.
This is definitely not as straightforward. Hanoi is very cheap, but healthcare and pollution are not great. Also, traveling from there to the rest of the region is not easy. Let's compare Bangkok and Manila then. Bangkok is not only less expensive, but it is also safer, more stable, and has less pollution. We also love the local food. The people are friendly and the beaches are spectacular. And look how much cheaper than Houston it is. Our savings would definitely last longer here.
And a secondary benefit of planning our retirement around this concept of geographic arbitrage is that if we're living somewhere and the local currency strengthens a lot versus the dollar, we can reevaluate locations and find a new home base.
To summarize, we have many strategies that help savings go further during retirement, and one of the biggest ones is geographic arbitrage. If you're considering this strategy and you're wondering how to get started, follow these steps. Establish your wants and needs for retirement. Find locations where the US dollar is strong against local currency. That way, everything is cheaper.
Do lots of research on these locations. Use sites like theearthawaits.com or Reddit to help baseline and go from there. Discard the locations that don't meet your wants and needs.
Stay flexible. What looks good today can change quickly. We've also included some helpful links below, and we'd love to hear from you. Do you have any questions? Have you thought about retiring abroad? If so, what's your plan? Does ours sound like a good idea to you? Let us know in the comments below.
Follow us on social media or our blog at gabbyandjaysjourney.com. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to be notified when we post new content. We're planning to post a new video every 2 weeks for right now. We both work full time and Gabby just got a new job. But our next video is going to be on the always scary topic of budgeting. Do you need one? How do you not make yourself crazy with one?
Until then, please stay safe, do your part, take care of one another, and thank you for joining us.